Breaking news on HQ, Anthony Davis says he's coming back tomorrow night against the Mavericks. Says he's feeling much better, has missed the past 30 games with a calf injury. LeBron James has been out a long time as well. ESPN reporting that LeBron is still weeks away with his high ankle sprain. The Lakers 35-23 with 14 games to go, sitting in 5th place in the West. They're 8 games out of first and only 4 out of the play-in games. Anthony Davis has been out since injuring himself on Valentine's Day, February the 14th. The Lakers were 21-7 at the time, sat in 2nd place in the West. Since then, they've dropped points per game, down about 3 points a game, and from 2nd to 5th in the Western Conference. Let's bring in Avery Johnson. Avery, it's never too late to get the Stars back, but we're a month away from the postseason. What do you want to see right now from Anthony Davis?
Well, when Anthony Davis, Chris, got injured back in February, he said he heard a pop, and he knew something was wrong. I want to see Anthony Davis get some pop back into this lineup with the Lakers. You're talking about a model of inconsistency over the last, 11 games. They'll win a game, lose a game, hot, cold. There's no level of consistency. So I like to see Anthony Davis get some pop back into their defense, find some consistency with them offensively. It'll be a great place to start against the Mavericks. The Mavericks are not really a high-level defensive team. You don't know if Porzingis is going to play or not. He's basically in and out of the lineup. So this will be a great opportunity for Anthony Davis to get his game back on track. He's probably going to be on a minute restriction, but this is going to be a welcome sight to get Anthony Davis back in the lineup, especially these next 2 games coming up against the Mavericks.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be about 15 minutes per game in Dallas on Thursday and Saturday, then to Orlando and to D.C. before coming home for a few games. Avery, King James is still going to be out, though. ESPN reporting that he's still weeks away, and we're only weeks away from the regular season ending. I think the playoffs begin in exactly 1 month from tomorrow, I believe. How difficult is it going to be for the defending champs to kind of try to flip that switch anyway, heading into the postseason with their 2 injured stars?
Well, depending on where they're seated is going, it's going to be a huge difference in terms of who they play. If they continue to slide, they could end up potentially playing the Clippers, in the first round. So it's just a matter of who they're going to be matched up with. I would hope that for their sake that LeBron has at least a week of work in the regular season before the playoffs start. If LeBron can get a week's worth of practice in and then another week's playing, 3 or 4 games, I think they'll be ready to go, especially if Anthony Davis can continue to progress with his many restrictions. Hopefully by that time, he'll be playing about 35 minutes a game instead of 15 minutes a game. And if they can get him going, and if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are averaging around 30, 35 minutes a game come playoff time, I don't see anybody beating them in the first or second round in the Western Conference playoffs.
That's regardless of where they're seated, Avery, in your opinion?
Regardless of where they're seated, because if they're playing at a high level, if both of those guys are playing their normal amount of minutes, they only really need to take a break when the coach calls a timeout. I still have the Lakers as the favorite. It's just hard for me to explain or understand a team in the Western Conference that can beat LeBron James and Anthony Davis and the rest of that supporting cast. Now you have Andre Drummond that gives you a presence inside. They help elevate the rest of their team, the role players' game. It's just hard for me to figure out if there's a team in the Western Conference that can beat LeBron James and Anthony Davis 4 times in a 10-day period.
And they are the favorites to win the West. The Nets are the favorites to win the East. And they're kind of in a similar position, Avery, with injuries. James Harden, Kevin Durant remain out. Which team would you rather be at this point in time, the Lakers or the Nets?
I definitely want to be the Nets because, in the Eastern Conference, sure, you have to go through a team like a Philadelphia or a Milwaukee Bucks. But, those teams have some glaring flaws. When you have Giannis, whose game is just not the same, especially when it comes around at Eastern Conference semifinals or Eastern Conference finals, he still is a guy that can't beat you from behind the three-point line. You look at Ben Simmons, he doesn't even want to attempt the outside shot for Philadelphia. So yes, you have Joel Embiid, who's in the top conversation with Jokic in terms of being MVP. But those teams just still have some glaring weaknesses that if Brooklyn is playing at their best and they have 2 out of 3 or all 3 of their superstars in the lineup, I just can't see anybody in the Eastern Conference beating them 4 times. And even with their porous defense for high percentage of the time throughout the regular season, they could still outscore any team in the Eastern Conference. So I would feel better if I was in the Brooklyn Nets position, whereas the Lakers, they still have to go through the Clippers, Utah, Denver. Phoenix is playing at a high level. Those are some teams that don't have as many weaknesses as some of those Eastern Conference teams.
But they are going to get Anthony Davis back beginning tomorrow night in Dallas. He will be on a minutes restriction, hearing 15 minutes or so a game, at least to start, and hopefully LeBron James will come back.
Chris, I live in that. I think I need to call Mark Cuban and ask him, does he remember me, the coach of the year? I think I want to go check out the game and report back to CBS.
As long as you're not coaching against him, right? That would be a tough task to be in Dallas there coaching against Anthony Davis as he returns, as he tries to bring the Lakers back toward the top of the West. They're in 5th place right now. Avery, thank you so much. Maybe you could check out those games on Thursday and Saturday in your neck of the woods. The Nets are the favorites to win the title, and then you have the Lakers plus 350 to win it all. Again, Anthony Davis returning tomorrow. ESPN reporting that LeBron is still, quote, weeks away.